Hi everyone, hope you had a great spring break. We're going to go over our week 9 assignments today. So this week you will be wrapping up your research logs with research logs 6 and 7. And you're also going to be doing this activity, organizing sources for the reader's guide, which will help you create categories that you'll need to use in your reader's guide and also help you figure out what are the final 2 sources you should be looking for research log 7. So this activity is really important for 2 reasons. One, you're going to be reusing the categories you create in your reader's guide, and it's going to help you see gaps in your research to fill for research log 7. And you'll also be doing this introducing the composing processes, which is meant to help you as we start drafting the editor's introduction next week. So it's kind of a different way of looking at starting writing, getting words down on the page. So for research log 6, you have 2 choices in terms of using a particular journal. So the Atlantic is the journal we're going to be searching in this week. I chose the Atlantic because, first of all, it was recommended by one of our subject librarians as one of the best places for freshmen to be looking for in-depth articles that are accessible in terms of being able to be understood by the general public and not too technical, but still in-depth. So the actual Atlantic website is now subscription only to read the full text. If you can get around that, you might try by searching the Atlantic there. But because you are students and have access to the Atkins library, the library has a subscription to the Atlantic. So we can access full text articles via Atkins library. Another option would be to browse through the Atlantic's podcasts. If that's something that you're interested in, you could do that. So you could either choose an article that you find here or looking through the podcasts. These are not as easily searchable, so it's more like scrolling through. So that's up to you. So when you come here to the Atlantic access point on Atkins library, make sure that you are typing in your search terms here and not up here, because that's going to search anything, and we want to search just within the Atlantic database. So I'm going to just type in emojis and see what comes up here. Nothing there. All right, let me broaden my search a little bit. Let me do social media. Okay. So let's see. You'll see here this 1993 is just having to do with when the database was started. So the actual date of the articles will be this date, 2016, 2017, etc. So I'm gonna, let's see. Let's try. We're already in the metaverse. Let me try this one since this one is really recent, and I think this might work for many of you. So let me open this up here. So let's go to available online. Okay, so if you happen to find this, it may not take you directly to your article, but what you'll find is it's taking you to the journal volume that your article appears in. So if you scroll down, these are the other articles that were published within that same issue. So there I can see here's my article that I want. We're already in the metaverse, and I want to get that one. Let me go back there. Oops. Okay, so I realized that that was not working for me because I was not logged into my Google UNCC account. So I logged in, refreshed the page, and I was able to find that article. We're already in the metaverse, and it is loading right here. And you will see that it will be a PDF full text and of how the article appeared in the journal when it was published. Okay. So play around with the search terms right here. And again, The Atlantic has articles on just about anything. So just if you're not finding anything, you might want to just broaden your search terms a little bit and try out lots of different search terms until you find what you want. Okay, so that's what you're doing for Monday. And then on Wednesday, you are doing this organizing sources for the Reader's Guide. So you're going to need 9 cards or scraps of paper or sticky notes, whatever you want to use, about the size of a Post-it note. You need a sheet of paper that you're going to stick them on. Okay, so on each card, you want to go through your research log. And for each source, you want to write the title of the source, 1 or 2 sentences. This doesn't even actually have to be in complete sentences, just a quick note about what that article is about, anything else you want to mention about it. Do not write, oh, this is research log 1, research log 2. You just want the title and some quick notes. It could be even like some key terms, things that stand out to you about that source. All right, so you're going to do that for each of the, you will have 7 sources if you have done up through research log 6 so far, okay? Then you want to look at the kinds of sources you have and think about how you might arrange them into categories. And these categories, generally you want to have 3 to 4 categories. Anything less than that or more than that is a bit too little or too much for the amount of sources that we have. So I would say aim for 3 or 4 categories, keeping in mind that the categories cannot be positive or negative, for or against. Your topic is more complicated than that. That's kind of surface level way of looking at your sources. So you want to create categories that are more interesting than that. So you can see for this student, they had a category, the complexity of language, culture, identity, and language coincide. And the third category is writing linguistics should be better taught. And I'll talk about this discard category in a minute. Here's another example. This student had more sources, I believe, so they had a few more categories. So what you want to do is arrange the note cards within the categories and then look for where do you see that there are some gaps in your research. And you want to put the remaining blank cards, so you should have 2 blank cards, into the group or categories that seem unfinished. And then that's what you're going to want to look for research log 7. For research log 7, you will have, you're finding 2 sources any way you want. And you want to try to fill those gaps in your research with the sources you find in research log 7. You will see that this student has a discard. You may or may not want that. So in the final Reader's Guide, you will need 8 sources as your minimum number of sources. You will have found 9 if you have done all research logs. So if there's one that you really don't like and you're going to get rid of, you have the wiggle room to discard 1 source that you've found so far. Okay, so if that's something that you want to do, you can. Otherwise, you can distribute all of your cards among those different categories that you come up with. Okay, and so you're going to Submit, you're going to take a picture of your work and submit it to the assignment. You can submit it as a file or copy and paste it into the text box. Okay, so that's for Wednesday. And then for Research Log 7, you are going to find 2 sources that inform your research and that you see fill in the gaps from the organizing sources activity. These are the different ways that you may find sources. So you could look at any of the previous ways that you found sources from the research logs, Google Scholar, Atkins Library, TED Talks, Atlantic, all of those. Look within your sources for links or other sources in the reference list or notes at the end of the articles. Or you could even use a source that you liked that one of your group members included. You will not be able to include what they wrote about that source, but instead just use the source and write your own summary and your own ideas about that source. Okay, so you're doing 2 sources. Keep that in mind. And then please follow the instructions. This is kind of a mirror assignment to Research Log 1 where you included 2 sources. Okay, and this is new. So instead of doing an editor's commentary, you're going to write an elevator pitch about your topic. So imagining that you only have a minute with somebody and you have to, just in that amount of time, explain to someone that knows nothing about your research what you found out and why it's important. So how would you convince someone in about a minute that your topic is interesting and important now? So try to get as close to 200 words as possible. Try not to go too much under or too much over. And then finally on Friday, you're turning in the Introduction to Composing Processes. A lot of students really like this. This is a famous article called Shitty First Drafts, and it helps to kind of ease a lot of anxiety people have about getting started on writing. But this is meant to lay the foundation for how we will go about the editor's introduction next week. All right, let me know if you have any questions and have a great week.